Hello everybody, this is H2 Shaves here. I'm back with another video. Hope this finds you well. We are back to, let's say, warm winter days here. It's about 40 degrees and overcast outside today. So not exactly the spring that we had hoped for, but I think on Monday or Tuesday it's going to be about 60 and sunny. So we consider that a great success around here. So today, as you probably saw from the title and the picture, I have a razor to talk to you about. But first, I want to talk to you about a new scent, new soap and aftershave and fragrance release from London Razors, and this is called Mountain Laurel. So London Razors is a razor Etsy store, as you might imagine, based in London, Kentucky. Be clear that this is not London in England. And they have been making fragrances for maybe, I don't know, half a year or something like that. And they also have a candle shop, which I'm going to link to you. I believe it's called Memoir Candles, and I bought some candles from them before in the past, and they're fantastic. But so basically, razor maker turned into a scent maker, and this is their first ever release, Mountain Laurel, which if you didn't know, because I didn't, Mountain Laurel is a type of flower that is very commonly found in kind of the eastern part of the U.S. I saw a map where it's commonly found, and it's like it starts in Kentucky as like kind of the westernmost point, and then it goes north and east from there, like all up into, I think, even as far as New York. And so I am very excited to share this release with you today. Full disclosure in that I did receive a sample of this fragrance maybe last year, end of 2020. And so I have been smelling this for a while. It has quickly become one of my favorite kind of casual scents to wear around the house. And so while I did receive a little sample of the fragrance some time ago, I did pick up this set. I bought it with my own money. And well, let me talk to you about the scent. So it's meant to be a springtime scent. Obviously, from the name, there are some floral components. To me, it's sort of a fougere light, if you will. There is oak moss, and in the soap and the splash in particular, there's a very strong grassy note, which to me is supported very nicely from notes like amber, which I really enjoy. And so London Razors did the scent, and then Summer Break Soaps provided the soap base and also the aftershave base as well. And so I'll talk to you more about the scent and the performance and things like that as we go. I'll of course link to London Razors' Etsy page down below in the description. Unfortunately, as of the time of this review, this scent has only been out publicly for 2 weeks, and it has managed to sell out. I think there are some fragrance samples left, and there maybe are a couple bottles of the eau de parfum left, but otherwise the soap and splash is sold out. And so I was already planning to do this, but it makes even more sense to do this now since it's sold out. And so basically all you have to do is leave a comment saying I'm in, and you will have a chance to win the splash and soap unused from me. And yeah, I'm happy to do this giveaway. And if you're in the US, I can send you the splash. If you're outside the US, I won't be able to. So if you're an international winner, I might send the soap to you and the splash to somebody else. But anyway, just leave a simple comment, I'm in, and then I'll pick a random winner in time for next week's video. So that's the start of Mountain Laurel. Again, we'll talk about more of it as we go. And then finally, for the razor today, going to be using the Blackland Saber. Several people have been asking me when I was going to try out this razor because, well, I think they know how much I love the vintage gem razors. And so since this is one of the only modern razors that is on the market right now that takes gem blades, you know, it is kind of an obvious choice. And I've tried the Blackbird in the past and the Sabre in the past. And again, I want to thank the person who loaned me theirs for the purposes of this review. I've been using it all week. And again, just as kind of a, you know, you could say this about all of Blackland's razors, but they're designed, assembled, finished, all that sort of stuff right here in the USA. This is made of 303 stainless steel. I think this weighs a combined 111 grams, and as well as with the Vector, this has a very special center post threading. It's a 3-piece razor, but I'll just say be careful with the threading of this. If you feel it starts to cross thread, you should back off the handle, try again. And to be honest, it's something that I can't even really show you, like, because the first time I did it, I felt like I was doing something wrong and I actually wasn't. And so it's sort of a difficult thing to explain, but once you do it a couple times, you'll get the hang of it. And so this is the Blackland Saber. This is the level 2 plate, which has a gap of 0.9 millimeters, which I would say is kind of medium-ish, maybe medium, slightly more on the efficient side by modern blade gap standards. To me, this feels a lot like the Game Changer 0.84 gap in terms of how it feels in use, even though it's obviously a gem SE style razor. The cutting sensation and the efficiency and all that reminds me of that. Anyway, we'll talk about this more as well. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to load the soap off camera. I really loved using the summer break soap base this week. I haven't used it in a very long time. It's a tallow base, easy to work with. And so for that reason, I'm going to load off camera and then bring you back in when I'm about to start the face lather. So we're back and we have the soap loaded up here on our Declaration Grooming B8. Again, like I've just mentioned, the soap has been really easy to work with. Big fan of the soap base from summer break. And yeah, it's been nice to use. So regarding the Mountain Laurel scent again, to me, it's kind of like a fougere, but it's not kind of as dank and as heavy as some of those fragrances can be. And so when I received the fragrance sample at the end of 2020, again, it just kind of quickly became my favorite sort of casual scent to wear around the house when I don't have much going on. Like specifically on Saturdays around here, usually my wife is working from home and I'm not, and it's like I don't really have much going on. And so the scent is kind of complex enough that it's interesting and not boring, but it's not like so crazy that it's kind of distracting, you know. And the scent strength on the soap, I think is pretty good. It's at least like a 5 or 6 out of 10. And again, this is a perfect kind of springtime scent, but because it kind of leans on the fougere side, you know, I think those sorts of scents are pretty versatile, you know. And so I was wearing it, you know, in the middle of winter as well. But certainly the kind of grassy note that is particularly strong in the soap and aftershave, I believe it's galbanum is what he said is in here. You know, depending on if you're smelling the fragrance of the soap, because they are slightly different, the soap and splash have a little bit more of that galbanum note, and whereas the eau de parfum, I believe, has some sandalwood in it, and also maybe a little bit of spice in there. And so they're not exact copies, but they certainly go together very well, and I've been using the soap, splash, and fragrance basically all week. And so that's been wonderful. So again, like I said, at the moment, this is currently sold out. And since this was their first release, I think he wanted to not go crazy with his first batch size. And of course, this is not, you know, an intentional thing where he's trying to create artificial demand or anything like that. So what I've said to people who are interested in picking up the soap, but they haven't been able to because it's been sold out for the past few days, you know, leave a comment on this video. I'll be having you leave "I'm in" if you want to be considered for the giveaway, but also if you want to leave a comment like underneath that, like, you know, "I'm in, but also I would like to buy the soap if I don't win in the giveaway and it could become if it could be released again as a second batch, you know, something like that." So I know it was a little bit surprising to London Razors that they sold out so quickly, but as I mentioned to him when we were talking earlier this week, that's certainly a good problem to have, right? All right, so we're continuing to work in the soap here. I'm going to, well, keep lathering, and then I'll bring you in when I'm ready to start my first pass with the Sabre. All right, here we go. First pass with the Blackland Saber. Again, this says the level 2 plate. Heard from most people that the level 2 plate is their go-to, and well, that the level 1 is just mild for most people, is too mild for most people, but I'm sure that there are some people out there who like that razor. So I would say that this is the least aggressive feeling Blackland I've tried. I think the Blackbird was the most. The Vector was a little bit milder than that, and then this is the most kind of mild. But I would still, again, call it kind of a mild, sorry, not mild, medium efficiency, medium aggressive razor by modern standards. And I think because I've been using gem razors exclusively for the past month, it was very easy to kind of get into the groove with this razor this week. Not much of a learning curve, I would say. I think the main thing that threw me off, maybe just for the first day, was just the weight. You know, this is 111 grams, whereas I think the average, like, I think it was last week I used the push button. I mean, that razor has to be half the weight as this one. And beyond weight, you know, the big advantage, or, you know, Blackland's big marketing thing on this is that compared to a vintage gem razor, this does probably hold the blade a bit better. Because it has the 3-piece design and not the usual spring cap that a lot of those gems have. And so in that way, it does hold the blade very firmly. And I think the average Blackland customer is really going to appreciate that. Working with 2 days growth here, always forget to mention that. All right, first pass done. I'm gonna do 3 passes today as usual. And yeah, let's do a rinse and then I'll bring it back in for pass number 2. Pass 2. Here's pass number 2 across the grain, mostly. Excellent second pass there. Wow. Could really feel the thickness of the soap helping me to just kind of keep a very light pressure on the razor, and the weight of the razor does the work. You know, that's one of the benefits of these heavy razors, is you can just kind of let it glide, especially if you've got your soap working well for you. All right, gonna rinse and then come back and talk to you in our third pass, final pass here. Third pass. third and final pass against the grain mostly. So about this razor, it works very well for me. Again, it's kind of at my perfect modern razor aggression level, because I just have kind of accepted that the modern razors generally speaking focus on the efficiency side a little bit more. However, I guess my issue with this razor is that if I close my eyes and use this, it doesn't feel like I'm using a gem razor. And I think that's kind of the point. Could be wrong, but I believe Blackland just wanted to make this razor to provide kind of a modern take on a razor that accepts gem blades. And so to me, it's more of a razor that accepts gem blades than being like a gem razor. And there's nothing wrong with that. And if I had to guess, you know, out of the people who own this razor, what percentage of them, you know, are as into vintage gems as I am, I would probably guess that most of them are not. Like, they're mostly modern razor guys who see this and they're like, oh, that's different, it takes a gem blade. Maybe I'd like to try that. And so, of course, I have nothing wrong with that. I think this razor probably does a good job of getting modern guys, you know, oh, well, there's a Sabre, there are all these other vintage gems, maybe I want to try those. But to me, just because it's stainless and how it holds the blade and the efficiency and all these things, again, it might as well be a modern stainless DE razor. It just doesn't quite have the vintage charm that draws me to those old razors so much. Again, nothing wrong with that. It's just not quite what I'm looking for, which is not surprising at this point. I was just talking with somebody in the comments the other day. I think I only have like 5 modern razors anymore, and the rest are all vintage, and the number of vintage is insanely high, and I do not wish to think about what that number is. But yeah, beautiful razor, obviously. I haven't had any issues with it. I just don't feel the need to go pick it up anytime soon. However, I hope that it will continue to bring people into the gem side of the razor world, and I know it has, and probably will continue to do. So cheers to Blackland and all that. I'm happy to have been able to try this razor, and yeah, now it confirms my suspicion that it would feel more like a modern razor than a vintage gem. So that's that. All right, done with my 3 passes here. I haven't done 3 passes this week. You know, I usually do 2 and then save 3 for the video. And really comfortable. I mean, just super comfortable the whole way. The soap performed well for me today, and so chuffed to bits, as they say in the UK. I'm gonna do my final rinse, and then I'll come back and talk to you over post-shave, over the aftershave. Let's use the matching Mountain Laurel aftershave. So again, this is Summer Break's aftershave base, which is somewhat recently redone. Maybe in the past year, they redid this splash formula. And it is witch hazel alcohol based, although the witch hazel I believe is listed first, so it's higher in concentration. And I think this is a nice base. you know, a nice aftershave base. It's got a little bit of a sting to it, but not too much. That's right. And now I'm applying this, I'm remembering the cool thing about having the same scent in 3 different mediums, meaning soap, splash, fragrance, is that you usually perceive different notes, you know, strongly in each one. And so in the splash, I can really smell the blood cedar that is used in this fragrance. I forgot to mention that. The cedar really comes out to me in a way that, honestly, I wouldn't have known cedar was in the fragrance of the soap, but in the splash, it's like clear as day. Oh, that's cedar, you know? So that's kind of interesting. And again, if you're like me and you like picking out different notes, that's one of the so-called benefits, I would say, of having a full set like this. All right, so I'm gonna put on the fragrance later. I don't usually put on fragrance like right after I put on aftershave. I like to let the aftershave kind of do its thing, and then I'll put on fragrance later. For those of you who put on aftershave and then fragrance immediately after, do you just smell like whatever you just used like all day? I mean, I just imagine it would be so strong if you use aftershave and fragrance. I don't know, I can't imagine doing that, but power to you if you are that person. So again, if you somehow missed in the beginning, leave a comment. I'm in if you want to be considered to win a free soap and splash, courtesy of me. If you're in the US, I'll happily send you both. If you're international, well, I'll only be able to send you the soap, but I'll repurpose the splash, give it to somebody else. Again, it's currently sold out from London Razors, but hopefully they'll do a restock eventually, and maybe you'll be seeing this video in a month, and you'll be like, hey, HD, they've got stock now. And I'll be like, yep, probably so. Yeah, a wonderful scent. I'm super happy for London Razors for this being their inaugural shaving scent. Again, they've done scents in their candle business, but not with the shaving stuff yet. And also just, I forgot to mention, their razor work is terrific. When I have a razor, usually vintage, but he does moderns as well. If I have a vintage razor that I can't clean up or I can't get to work, I send it to him usually, and he does a great job with it. And also he sells a lot of nice vintage examples, expensive and not so expensive, you know. The nice thing about buying from somebody like him is that you know that the razor's gonna work and that it's been looked at. You know, it's not like you're just going to eBay and crossing your fingers that the vintage razor is gonna work and be in working order. He can confirm that for you. So there's another plug for London Razors and what they do. Again, thank you to my friend who loaned me the Sabre for this week. I'm glad to be able to have tried it and kind of confirmed my suspicion that this wasn't going to be for me. But again, it's not a bad razor by any means, even by my standards. Like if I had to use that razor for the rest of my life, I probably could. Would I prefer something a little bit more mild, a little bit more nimble? Yes, probably. But again, that doesn't mean that it's bad. And if you've tried this razor, feel free to leave me your thoughts and impressions on it. I'm sure, because this razor's been out for years, I'm sure many of you have used this, whereas you probably haven't used the Mountain Laurel set. So there we go. So that's going to do it for today's shave. Thank you if you made it this far. Next week I will return to going on the DE razor schedule, I guess. So if you've been waiting, hey, when's this guy going to use DEs and stop using these gems? That's coming. So be on the lookout for that. And I'll post the random winner in the next week's video. So for now, this has been HD Shaves. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.